This story contains descriptions that some may find upsetting. Day 31. Furs. As the rain hammered down and ran in streams down the narrow alleyway, a limousine, looking far too expensive for this part of town, eased to a stop. In the back seat sat Eric North, the exceptionally successful and exceptionally young tech entrepreneur and investor. He often had to ignore the little voice that said the only thing exceptional about him was how often people used that word to describe him. Dressed in a suit that was worth more than the car, and wondering how many steps he would have to take in this weather, he noticed his driver's eyes on him in the rearview mirror. Given their relative positions, it was tantamount to being given a stern talking to by the older man. A father-son look-before-you-leap lecture. Eric ignored it and yanked on the door handle. The sound of the rain pitched up to a hiss, and the driver was forced to leap from the car and produce an umbrella. Eric looked at him, but the driver avoided his gaze, said nothing. His boss had made up his mind, and it was not his place to judge. Eric felt sorry for him. His car door had been perfectly aligned with the corrugated metal door that the driver was standing next to now, under an awning, his hands clasped in front of him. He still looked straight ahead and said nothing to Eric. Eric pushed it open and stepped into the terraced building. He was standing in a rough, bare concrete corridor with a single bulb mostly illuminating it. It was cold and damp, and the only door ahead that looked vaguely accessible was at the opposite end. When he reached it, there was no buzzer, no sign. He knew the place was not on the radar, but this seemed a bit much. Could this really be it? No. Whatever his driver's thoughts about the place were, he had never navigated them wrong. Eric knocked. The door was unlocked with a solid thunk and was pulled open in increments by a small man with a round, bald head and round, frameless glasses. His forehead was creased above his raised eyebrows, accentuating his beaming smile. "Ah, Mr. North, I'm so honored to have you here. Please come in." Eric stepped through and the little man leant on the door to close it. Sure enough, he was standing in a tailor's shop. It was darker and far more cluttered than the places he often visited in Singapore or New York, but there were garments of all kinds, organized by event, color, gender. Several mannequin torsos were lined up by a desk for cutting cloth, a couple half-dressed in half-finished jackets, dotted with open stitching and white chalk lines. There was a scent of old incense, underlined by a musk, something else. The old man was beside him. "Please feel free to look at anything you desire, or if I may be so bold as to ask what you may be looking for." Eric studied him. He had long believed of himself that he was an excellent people reader. There was nothing he couldn't get from them. He was trying to decide if this little man already knew why he was here. "I'm looking for something for my wife," said Eric. "She's turning 30. "Momentous," said the tailor, with a little bow. "I hope you might be impressed enough by my offerings to select something for her this evening." He moved to one end of the room, where the clothes seemed smaller, more colourful. "I have had the honour of dressing first ladies and crown princesses, ball gowns, working suits, even lingerie. Silk, lace, tweed. My furs," he paused almost imperceptibly, "are the finest in the world, and I trust the gentleman in his discretion. Many of them are illegal in many places." It was he that was reading Eric now. Eric took in a long breath through his nose. "My wife is not like other women, you understand." The little man did not much indicate either way whether he did or not. "She is accustomed to nothing being off-limits to her. Has been, for some time." He looked up and down the high racks of clothing, feigning an expression of hopelessness. What do you get the person who already has everything? The tailor was eyeing Eric up and down, as though calculating his measurements. He seemed sour now, almost disappointed. "Would you follow me?" he said. He moved to a corner and parted a rack of tuxedos, revealing a door. Eric ducked through behind them and into a cosy study. A tea set sat on a small table next to an armchair. There was a computer on a desk with a backless stool tucked underneath and a bookcase alongside. The old man tilted a book back from one of the shelves, and Eric heard a click. The tailor put 2 hands on the side of the case, apparently about to pull it over. He stopped. "Mr. North, there are cameras in this room." Eric looked up to see 2, each in opposite corners, pointing straight at him. "Their feeds are not recorded here. They are stored somewhere else, known only to me and my family. As an insurance policy, you understand." Eric nodded, and the little man pulled the bookcase open. The stench was the first thing he noticed. As if reading his mind, the tailor's hand appeared from the gloom holding a respirator. As Eric wrapped it around his nose and mouth, the lights winked on. There were pigskins stretched out on racks on the other side of the room, which was covered from floor to ceiling in white tiles. But then Eric saw that they were not all pink. And the shapes. He felt his mind blinking as he tried to comprehend what he was seeing. The legs were too long and thin. Many had a patch of hair on their head. There were tattoos. They were human. A wave of adrenaline crashed over Eric. The little tailor was watching him closely. Sometimes they fainted, so he liked to be ready. The people became clearer to Eric as he understood, like finally perceiving an optical illusion. Most of them were white men, some black, some smaller, women. There was a very small one in the back. "I offer the finest wares in the world, Mr. North. So fine, in fact, that only those who own them can know they exist. What would your wife say to that?" Eric was shaking. "She's going to lose her mind,"